Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Eye on Matteson. I am your host, Laverne Murphy, and Village President Sheila Chalmers-Curran is the executive producer of the show. Today's guest on Eye on Matteson is our very own Chief of Police for the Village of Matteson, Michael Jones. Chief Jones has been in law enforcement for a total of 22 years in the South Suburban area. Chief Jones oversees a department of 40 full-time sworn-in police officers and 15 civilian employees. Chief is also a consultant and evaluator for a company that assists police departments throughout the country with their new police candidate hiring interviews, as well as police officer promotional exams. He also serves on an advisory board for a local college where he ensures that potential future law enforcement officers are receiving the most up-to-date and useful curriculum. But this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Chief Jones' career, which you will hear more about in today's show, and how Chief Jones has introduced new policies and programs to bridge the gap between police officers and their community. Chief Jones, thank you for joining us on Eye on Matteson today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Chief, you have such an extensive resume, which you've built over the last 22 years of your experience. What led you to actually this point of becoming Chief of Police?
Well, I was always interested in law enforcement, serving the public, and just helping people. And this career has given me all of those opportunities. I started in Richmond Park, actually, in 1997. And then in 1999, I came over to Matteson as a patrol officer, field training officer, range officer. I was on our SWAT team at the time and was a tactical officer. And then I became a detective. Joined the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force, which helps investigate very, very serious crimes throughout all of the South Suburbs. I got promoted to patrol sergeant in 2004. And then 2009, I got assigned to be the detective sergeant overseeing the Criminal Investigations Division. And then in 2012, I became deputy chief and then chief of police in 2014.
Wow.
What really keeps me going is really the community. Just making sure that everybody is safe, secure, and happy. Obviously, we have our challenges, but you know, that's what drives me every day to keep doing what I do.
Wow. And it sounds like you've touched almost every aspect of within your department, which is great. You know, that way you have the full understanding of your department. And so you truly actually worked your way up the ranks. And so that's a great thing. And you've been here with the village for, what, 19 years now?
20 years.
Of that 22 years experience.
Yeah.
So you've been here quite some time. And so that's great. That says a lot. So what are some of your goals for the department?
My ultimate goal is safety and security. And that is really measured by two major things: crime and crashes. We have a very, very busy and active community between our residents and our commercial areas. We're a thoroughfare right off of I-57. To get into any of the adjoining communities, you have to go through the village of Matteson. So crashes are a big concern of mine. But the good thing that we have is I'm very, very lucky to be in the position I am because we have a good community and we have a lot of good men and women in the Matteson Police Department that share our vision of trying to suppress crime and crashes because ultimately that's what keeps people safe. So
That's right. Quality of life. Those are the things that people hang their hat on, in safety, and you guys have been providing that in an excellent way.
thank you.
Now, it's not only about solving crime in the community, but it's also about giving back to the community and partnering within the community. What are some of those efforts that you've been doing to give back and get involved in the community?
Well, one of the things we wanted to do, the nature of our job, look, nobody likes to get tickets. We become the mediators of different problems. One person is bothered because somebody else is playing the music too loud. We have to be the bad person and say, hey, you need to turn down your music. And sometimes it's difficult. You have kids playing out in the neighborhoods. You have to have an officer there. And yes, we'll have to write speeding tickets. I'm going to tell you a secret, though. Officers don't actually like writing tickets.
Okay.
But it's one facet of their job. But on the other hand, what we've been trying to do over the last 5 years is create a balance of positive police interaction. So when they're not having to enforce traffic laws or arrest somebody for shoplifting, they're doing more for the community. Every one of my officers has to carry sticker badges for kids. So when you have that opportunity to impress upon a child, because this is a very noble profession, I still believe that in my heart.
Yes, absolutely.
And I myself give out sticker badges to kids that say Matteson Police Department, and just to get the overwhelming look on that child's face. But we have a lot of programs that many people might not or realize in the police department. We have a community policing bureau. It oversees our Illinois senior triads.
Okay.
I have about 40 to 60 senior citizens who are active in this organization that has gotten awards because of their involvement. They meet at the police department every month. I often go to their meetings and share some things that happened in the village. They take field trips to the courts. They go to Windy City Live. They love that.
Okay.
And a great organization for our senior citizens. On the other end of the spectrum, we have a very vibrant Cadet Explorer program. So this is our youth that they come out and they learn different facets of what it takes to become a police officer. We get them actively involved, and they also help us out on different events and things like that. So that's our youth from I believe it's 12 to 21 can get involved in our Cadet Explorer program. Then throughout the year, we every fall, typically in September, we run a 10-week Citizen Police Academy, and where citizens can come out and they see different, actions of our job. They do traffic stops. They learn about how to process a crime scene. They learn about major incidents and how it affects police officers mentally. Right. And that's always a concern. And they see this job from our shoes. And then stemming from that, they've also created their own Citizen Police Academy Alumni Association.
Okay.
And they've come out and done philanthropy events with us. So, be on the lookout for upcoming dates of Citizen Police Academy. We host block captains meetings at our police department. We have a Family Youth Initiative, or FYI. What we've done with that is partner with other police departments, our churches, our school guidance counselors from our local community, and what we'll do is we will raise money, and we do a haunted house at one of the local schools every year through that group in our police department, and we do events for kids that they might not be able to do otherwise, such as ski with the chief once a year. Yes, I do ski with the kids.
Okay.
And then we also do money for displaced families. So we'll put them up in a hotel and what we can. So kind of just taking care of those that need taken care of. And the final program we run is a CAS camp, which is called Cops and Students Together, and that's in the summer. And there's about 50 to 60 kids that go through that 5-week camp. Okay. And it's just we take them to swimming and see a movie and kind of just the interaction. So,
Wow.
we have a job we have to do,
That's right.
but these are also the jobs that we want to do.
Right.
So it's kind of come full circle.
And it creates a great balance. And you talked about a lot of these programs like the Senior Triad and FYI and the Cadet. Can individuals find more information on the website if they're interested in any of these programs?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great. And you also do philanthropic events or involvement as well. Can you speak on some of those efforts that you do? I know you do Special Olympics and Cop on the Roof at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
And you guys do quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think that leads to the real true nature of our officers, because it's something I'm very proud of, and Special Olympics is near and dear to our hearts. We do a basketball game, as you know, at the community center with the SSSRA, which is that runs it for people with developmentally disabilities and physical disabilities. These, I call them kids, but they're not even kids. A lot of them are adults. They're just so heartwarming to be involved with them. So we do a lot of events. We do the polar plunge.
Oh, okay.
So I challenge any resident that wants to join us this year. It's early March. It is freezing. I have done it myself.
Okay.
I don't know how I'm going to do it this year, but we'll see.
Okay.
We do the polar plunge, Cop on a Rooftop event at our Dunkin' Donuts. We do a celebrity waiter at Culver's. They do a Texas Hold'em tournament. And here's what I'm very proud, because these officers have raised over $25,000 for Illinois Special Olympics this year.
Wow.
And is one of the top raising police organizations in the state of Illinois.
Oh, congratulations.
So the last 3, 4, 5 years, we've been in the top 30. There's over 800 individual police departments in Illinois.
Wow.
And the Matteson Police Department is in the top 30 consistently every year.
Wow.
So, it's something to be proud of.
Yes, those are great efforts.
And then we also we just started this 2 years ago. We call it an Officer Santa program. We got donations from some of our businesses, and we actually have we get gift cards. This last year we did it at Burlington for $50. And sometimes, especially around Christmas time, it's tough to balance. So we see a car that has a violation, like an equipment violation, like a broken windshield or a loud muffler that maybe it's against the law, but we're not going to ticket them because they just don't have the money to get it fixed. So we'll give them gift cards to those individuals to kind of just give them a little bit of boost.
Yes.
And then we also drop off gift cards at a local domestic violence shelter, just to help out their families, because obviously, they're in a tough spot and they're trying to figure out how to take care of their children during the holidays. So I know the officers love doing those kind of programs, and it kind of leads to who they are.
Right. And individuals get to see the softer side of policing involvement in the community. And I know you've implemented some new policies and programs to make sure that the police officers are being involved in the community. How has those efforts been, or have they been beneficial?
Great. We require our officers to do foot patrols every day in our parks, our walking paths, and in the neighborhoods, and I've even done them myself. And then business checks, they go into the businesses and just make an appearance, because we want to get to the point where an officer walks into a restaurant and everybody's not like, what's going on?
Exactly.
It's just a normal activity, and he's just there or she's just there trying to make everybody safe. And that's kind of taken a life of its own. I had heard one resident come to me that told me the story about an officer went to a park, played football with the kids. The one kid that had the football had to go home, and the other kids were left with nothing to do. So he went to one of our businesses, bought a bunch of squirt guns, and gave them to the kids, and just out of his own money. I didn't have him do that. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart. So that means that these things are just kind of molding, you know, who we want our officers today, or who I want our officers today to be.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Wow, that's great. You know, I know sometimes you have to incorporate laws or programs in which some communities, or not communities, or even residents that may not embrace it as well, i.e., red light cameras, body cameras, but you have to do that for the safety of the community. Can you tell me what are some of the facts and the myths to clarify so that individuals will understand why it's necessary and why it's vital and needed in the department?
Yeah. Well, here's a fact. The red light camera program is just as frustrating for me to manage as it is for people that get tickets. But I can tell you that there are 26 intersections in the village of Matteson that have traffic lights on them. We only have 2 intersections that have the red light camera program installed.
Out of 26?
Out of 26. And that is based on a lot of data that's submitted to the Illinois Department of Transportation, and they decide. At one point, they deemed Route 30 in Cicero one of the most dangerous intersections in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
And we had, just a few years ago, a pedestrian get struck and killed. And then when we're having the businesses starting to thrive right in that community, you know, we have the Verizon and Chipotle and the gas station, and people are walking across the intersection. And it's very, very difficult as an officer who's been doing this job to investigate a traffic crash, and then you add in that somebody's been lost their life, and we have to go out and talk to the parents of that person or the loved ones or whatnot. So.
It sounds like you're not arbitrarily just placing them anywhere. It's based on data that's been collected.
Yeah, and you know, looking at all the communities, and I've been up north to northern communities, and they have them. It's almost like it's a fact of life. But one of the things that we did is, before they even were implemented, is we let everybody know this is where they're gonna be, and there's signs. Hey, there's a red light camera program. So I'm gonna tell you the exact way to beat this. Stop. Just stop, take a deep breath, look around, and make sure, because everybody's in a rush. And it's the rushing and the cell phones that are causing these crashes. In 2017, the Matteson Police Department investigated 899 crashes. That's more than 2.5 crashes per day that officers had to investigate. And it's not just one officer. Typically, it's anywhere from 1 to 5 officers to manage a crash scene. So, you know, I get it that people have all these ideas about the red light, but just stop. You don't have to stop behind the white line. They changed that law a few years ago. You just have to come to a complete stop in the vicinity of that white line, just in the vicinity. As frustrating as it is to manage the program, I can say that it has helped in other investigations.
I'm sure.
Traffic crashes that happen at those intersections, they're not going to a civil trial of he said, she said. For years. We supply the video to the insurance companies, and one or the other pays out because it's definitive. We've had dozens of hit and runs where we've captured their license plate, and we're able to catch the person and bring justice and peace of mind to the victim who got hit, as well as other crimes. We've used it to solve other crimes in the community. So I can tell you that we have staff that physically reviews the cameras to make sure you come to a complete stop, not just one officer, but other staff as well. And we don't even approve 100% of the videos that we view. It's right around 55%. So you may be getting a break even when you're not even knowing it.
Exactly.
But again, just for our business owners and our residents, like I said, everybody knows they're at Route 30 in Governors and Route 30 in Cicero, or Lincoln is also it's called. And I'm only asking, you can turn right on a red, but come to a complete stop. Just act like there's a child playing on the corner, like any stop sign. And we'll get through this.
That's good to know. A lot of times people do wonder, can I turn on red even if I stop? So that's excellent information. But you receive a lot of information or a lot of tickets with individuals kind of violating the red light, but there's just a small percentage that are just residents. Wouldn't that be correct?
Yeah, as of last year, it was 12%. only 12% of the
very
residents. I would rather it be closer to zero, because I went to the homeowners meetings and I sent a mailer out in everybody's water bill about how many people just threw in the garbage. So I tried to get the word out because I didn't want it to be a surprise. I wanted everyone to know this is the law. I didn't write the law. We're just enforcing it, and hopefully people get used to it and start changing their behaviors.
That's what it is, and it only takes one. It only takes
in
one.
a split second. Yeah, I think you actually sent some clips, and hopefully we can implement that in this recording.
Absolutely, no problem. So, Mike, is there anything that you would want to share with our viewers or our residents, which we have not covered today?
Well, I can tell you that there is a crime trend that's affecting all of Chicagoland area, and it is very unfortunate. But I got into this job a long time ago because of the whole bully-victim dynamic. Okay, people that take advantage of other people, I consider bullies, and everybody else can become a victim.
That's right.
But don't help yourself get victimized. And what I'm talking about is the current trend of stealing cars and or breaking into cars. And when I say breaking in, I mean people are leaving their car doors unlocked. And I've said this in many other venues, and they're leaving laptops in their cars and valuables, and then everyone's too dependent on the electronic features of their key fobs to lock their door and not actually checking it. And then people are leaving their key fobs in their pockets while they're gardening or doing house chores, and they're inadvertently unlocking their car door in the driveway. So we have individuals, bullies or predators, that are coming to our community and simply pulling car door handles. 20 years ago, when we all had to manually hit the button, they would have to take the extra step of breaking into the car by breaking a window or popping the lock. We don't see that anymore. It's easy to just open the door, take the iPod, take the iPad, take the bag, whatever, and then close it. Now we're encountering people that, especially in the winter months, who are leaving their car doors or their cars running with the keys in it. Yes.
Not the keys in it, but
it is actually state law that says you cannot leave your car running with your keys in it. You could get cited. Now, we're not sending officers out there to write tickets on every single person that does it. But I can tell you that we have had cars stolen from our gas stations. People pump their gas, leave their car running, go inside to pay, come back and their car's gone.
Okay. I wouldn't necessarily do that, but okay.
You don't have to admit to anything here. We've had people that are warming up their cars in their driveways with their keys in it. And another phenomenon is, and be wary of if you start your car up with your you have those the starts where you have to just be in the vicinity and you just hit a button. Well, you could be coming out and it takes 2 seconds for a predator to steal your car just while you're in the vicinity.
Right.
So invest in something. If you don't have automatic start and you have keys, get another set of keys so you can lock your door. That's a deterrent.
Right.
Or better yet, invest in those automatic starts. I don't know what they're going for, a few $100, I'm sure. But that's a great way to warm up your car without your car possibly being stolen.
Yeah. And it's such an easy opportunity, and so that's why it's probably on such high alert or whatnot. But it's not a Matteson thing. It's just something that's trending across, the board, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well, great. Well, Mike, this has been a wealth of knowledge.
I have one more thing, if I can just bring it out to the public. It takes a very, very special person to be a police officer, and I think that we're looking for special individuals. I want to explain the process of becoming a police officer and then ask the residents for something.
Yes, absolutely.
Becoming a police officer, it's not you just put in an application and get hired. It's one of the only careers where you have a testing process just to get on a list to be considered. That testing process can take a year to complete.
Oh, wow.
It's a physical test, a written test, a psychological test, a pathological test, a medical test, and then once you get all that, you get placed on a list. And then if you get hired, we send you to the police academy for 3.5 months. And if you get through that, then we train you in our police department for about 4 months through field training. So just to become a solo police officer, you're talking about a 2-year commitment. All right, that's how special the guys and girls are in the Matteson Police Department to have gone through all that.
Absolutely.
But you always need more. People
Yes.
retire, and we're always filling holes. So the list is good for 2 years. So that's a process.
Okay.
And what I'm saying is, you know, I talk to a lot of kids who have other career paths. And I think at one point I wanted to be an astronaut, and that didn't happen. But I'm telling you, everybody that our list is currently set to expire in August. So our Police and Fire Commission, which is made up of 3 appointed residents, oversees the hiring process for our sworn police officers. So our Police and Fire Commission is going to be testing again for the Matteson Police Department in either late summer or early fall.
Okay.
So we got some time.
To
And the reason
prepare.
I'm telling you this is I want officers nowadays who are genuine, compassionate, empathetic, good communicators with good judgment skills, who are still physically fit, but able to communicate and de-escalate, and have a drive to serve and help. I get it. We work nights and weekends and holidays, but we have to be out here 24 hours a day.
Right.
So between now and then, I'm asking, if you know of somebody that has those qualities, that has those traits, may not even thought about being a police officer, maybe this can be a stepping stone for something else, send them to me. Actually watch the website, because when it's time for us to start testing, then it'll be there, and you know, it might be a young man who didn't consider it. I can tell you, I had other thoughts and other career paths, and I started somewhere else, and I came here and I fell in love with it.
Great.
And I'm looking for those same individuals. So between now and then, put some thought to it. You know, a relative, a friend, a neighborhood kid that you just think is, man, that person would be a great police. Let's start molding them now and get them involved, because you have an opportunity to affect the future of the Matteson Police Department, and what type of men and women encompass that, and hopefully we can continue to build on what we've accomplished already.
That's right, exactly.
And get that next generation. So when I finally retire, have the confidence that things are going to keep going. Yeah.
Exactly. And you've brought so much information, and hopefully those that are watching will see, you know, not only are you enforcing the law, but you're also heavily involved in the community as well, bringing that great balance. And so hopefully that will trigger, you know, some individuals to take that leap and take that step. And we're just not putting our police officers out on the scene, but you're actually, you know, going through the testing and the training, which is very important.
Yeah. Well, I think overall the safety of the community is what drives us. And we get frustrated when bad things happen.
Yes.
I'm lucky to have partnered. I have great administrative staff that help us get grants. Like we have a safety grant that we got. I wanted to show a couple things that we've recently purchased.
Okay.
Unfortunately, not everyone's a great driver, and this year alone, we've had 2 or 3 cars that have ended up in ponds, local ponds, and or flooded viaducts. And with all of our equipment, we're not equipped to dive every time into the water and save people. So through a safety grant that we were able to obtain, we got these float bags.
Okay.
So we're going to put these float bags in every one of our squad cars, and I'm not taking anything away from our wonderful men and women in the fire department, but typically we're on scene first. And this will, you hold on to the end and you throw it, and it'll go about 75 yards, and hopefully we can prevent anyone from drowning. Now the drowned car, that's not.
Oh, that's material. Those can be replaced.
Yeah, but I can say this: the best way to not having to be saved is just don't drive into the pond. Unfortunately, it's happened a few times.
Yes, unfortunately, for sure.
Through the same grant, we purchased for our officers, because slipping and falling, we're out there in all the elements, and on traffic crashes, I myself have slipped, and numerous officers have. So we bought yak tracks for all their boots. So this item slips on over your boots and helps you get through the ice.
How can I obtain one of those?
Go ahead and take the Matteson Police Department test coming to August, because I know you're under 35. You have to be between 21 and 35. It's right there.
Ah, that's great information to know.
And not through a grant. one of the things, like through the makeup of our police department, we have a patrol division, a detective division, community policing bureau, a school resource officer. We have guys and girls assigned to our South Suburban Emergency Response Team, which is the multi-jurisdictional SWAT team.
Okay.
We have people assigned to the South Suburban Major Crimes Task Force.
Oh, wow.
Excuse me, we have a very, very popular canine officer who's used throughout the Chicagoland area. And you've seen him on the news. He recently made a $10 million illegal drug bust.
Wow.
And
We have to have him on the show.
might be a much shorter show. And we also have an officer assigned to a federal task force. That officer is battling the opioid epidemic.
Okay.
With a lot of drugs coming from Mexico up the I-57 corridor to Chicago. They're assigned to attack the drug cartels.
Okay.
So not only are we seizing drugs, but these drug dealers also have lots of money that we're seizing. We send them through the money through the court process. The federal law enforcement agencies get a cut, and then the rest of it gets distributed. So over the last 3 years, the officer and his team has been very good at these federal seizures.
Great.
And we're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. So one of the things that we did is we purchased body cameras. So we'll be rolling out body cameras because we want to increase accountability, transparency, and it also increases the efficiency of what officers are able to accomplish. So you'll see these officers wearing body cameras, and it won't be as low as this, but they just basically magnet to your uniform. And that's a good program that was paid for by other entities besides taxpayers' money. So,
Right. Okay.
So we're starting to continue to roll out a lot of these things, and we're still going to try and be creative and keep going forward after that. So.
Right. Great. And that goes back to one of those things where it's not, sometimes you have to implement things that the residents or others just may not care for, but at the same time, they're vital to your department, they're necessary.
Yes, and we will all get used to it. Years ago, they made a law that said everyone should wear their seatbelts. And it's a good idea. It was a good law.
Yes.
And there are still people that don't want to wear their seatbelts. And
Right.
I always yell at my dad. When he didn't grow up having to wear a seatbelt, so it's a difficult transition.
Right.
And as we move farther and further, everything starts somewhere, but it boils down to safety and security.
Right. And it becomes the new normal.
It does. And we'll all get used to it.
Absolutely.
But in the end, you can see that I'm very passionate about the safety and security of the community. I take my oath very seriously. But I can tell everybody that not only do I feel lucky to work here for so long, but you guys should feel lucky to have the officers that you do.
Yes.
They're great young men and women. Some of them not so young. And I always enjoy when I get an email or a card or a phone call when they take the time out. Somebody takes the time out of their day to compliment the officers, and I always let the officers know. There were times that I had residents bringing up pastries, and I had to say stop because you're getting all of us fat. But it's a mutual appreciation, and I think that's what keeps us going.
Yes, absolutely. Well, hats off to the fine men of the village of Matteson.
And women.
You've done, yes, thank you, and women.
I have plenty of female officers, yes.
Yes, and no slight there. So you've done an excellent job, Mike. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I do appreciate you. And viewers, thank you so much for tuning in to hear about our very own Chief Michael Jones. And thank you again for joining Eye on Matteson. And so until next time, please stay informed, stay tuned, get involved. Together we can make great things happen. Thank you for joining us.